Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is the third video of Mehank Home series. If you have not seen the last two videos, you have to watch those videos because I have shared our journey of buying a house in Norway. In this video, we are going to share our learnings from our bidding experience. So this is our learning and we really don't want others to repeat these mistakes, and that's where I was very sure when we went through this bidding experience that I will surely make this video and tell people not to repeat the mistakes which we did. So if you don't know and if you have not seen the previous videos, this is not a new apartment. So when you have a resale apartment in Norway, you have a listening and then you have to bid for the house. So whoever is interested, they place a bid and that is controlled by a megler. Our house was through Privat Megleren and we also bid for some other apartment before this. So whatever we have experienced, we will share that because generally there are multiple bidders and you are not the only one who's bidding. So basically in this video, I'm going to share what we felt and what we did wrong and which we realized later. And that's why we thought we want to share with people, so that if you are going for a resale house and you are going to place a bid, this is kind of new to us because we don't do this in India. In India, there's no bidding. I have not experienced that in India, but here it was very new for me and my husband of the entire bidding experience, and that's where we have some learnings and we did some mistakes, and some of them were very big mistakes. So I am just sharing it with everybody so that people can learn from that. Timing of the bid is like that. If you have a listening, they have listening for two times, and then they have the third day you have to bid, and they had to start at 12 or 11. Generally there is a bidding time which you have to bid during that time only and before that time only, but it was not the case in our case because we bid off the listening and it was way after the listening, and that's why it was different. Okay, so now let's start with our mistakes and our learnings. So I'll start with number one, which I think is our biggest mistake and which I have actually felt very bad about it later on, and it is a very silly one as well, but still I'm sharing. So guys, here when you go for a resale apartment, they give you a brochure which they call as prospect, and so that is generally in Norwegian because you're buying it in Norway, and we got the prospect for the house as well, which was in Norwegian, and we are not very fluent in Norwegian, but we could always translate it. So we just went through it. We were more concerned about the price and the other things, but we didn't read it completely, and we didn't read it thoroughly, which is I think our biggest mistake. So but what happened, that in that prospect somewhere it was written that whoever was staying here, the seller will take all the wardrobes inside the house which are already there, and we never read that in the prospect. Yeah, so it is a mistake, but we did it and we never read that in the prospect. And even when we came for multiple listings, we were looking at the wardrobes, we were asking questions related to wardrobe. The seller never mentioned that they are going to take it, but we never asked it as well. So I will consider it our mistake because they had written it in the prospect and we completely missed it. We actually won the bid and we got to know this later that all the wardrobes are not coming with the house, and we have to then invest a lot of money to get a wardrobe because when we moved in there was not a single wardrobe in this house. Now we have placed everything, but that was a biggest mistake. So first thing is just read it properly because we had this experience, somebody can have something else. So it is very important that even if it's not in your language, it's not in English, translate, spend some time because you have a lot of time, you're taking a very big decision. We don't want you to repeat that same mistakes. So please read it thoroughly and read it properly, and if there is any such clause, just be cognizant of that because we could negotiated it, but we never knew it only. So it was a biggest mistake. Second is that there is always a quoted price on the house which the seller wants, who is expecting. Sometimes people do start the bid from the same amount. They think that's the minimum, but that's not true. You should always place a bid lower than that. I'm not saying you will get the house. Like, we even lost a bid, but we lost the bid because that house went far above the quoted price. But you can always start the bid from the price lower than the quoted price, and if you're lucky and there are not many bidders, you might win the bid with that. But generally a seller has a range which they don't want to sell less than that. But it's like, it's okay to place a bid lower than that amount. Like, earlier we thought it's not okay. Third one, so guys, this bidding experience, I'll tell you, this is very pressure situation. Like, I felt that, and even my husband, we felt a lot of pressure during that, because it is happening very fast. So like, when you place a bid, the other bidders, if anybody wants to bid, whoever has come for listening, they have like 30 minutes to bid. So which means if you are the other bidder, you also have 30 minutes to think that what if you want to place a bid higher than that or not. But now I would say the learning here is that you have to set your upper limit or your bids. You have to decide that before the actual bid time, because I don't want you to take any hasty decision or any decision under pressure, because it's very fast. So I'll share our experience. So like, when we were going through this bid, we placed a bid of a certain number, and then there was a bid from the other person, and then we gave 30 minutes when we placed the next bid for that person to decide. And we were, I think, only 2-3 bidders. We were not many. But then they returned the bid. They only gave us 20 minutes. So guys, 20 minutes to decide, and to decide that okay, this is over budget or not, this I can do or not. But we only had 20 minutes. So the thing is, like, it works like that. So if you have got 20 minutes and they have given 20 minutes for any other bidder to place a bid, if you don't place a counter bid and the seller accepts their bid, they get the house. So you actually have to do whatever you have to do in those 20 minutes. So which actually creates a lot of pressure on you, which we felt. And because it was happening like this and 20 minutes, and then you have to think, okay, it's not only about placing a bid. You should have that much money in your bank, because you give financing waivers for this. And then after, even if you win the bid, the megler, they are going to check with your bank that if you are having that much money or not. So if you are placing a bid which is not actually possible for you, then there's no fun of winning that bid. So prepared, set your upper limit, set your starting limit, and then just do. And then you don't have this 20 minutes pressure, and then it's okay. And another thing, sometimes we think that can we counter by increasing only 30,000, 20,000. It's not like that. Like, we even countered the bid before us by, I think, 10,000 kroner. So that's okay. But yeah, obviously it is not going to make much difference, and you're delaying it further to get to the final price. But that's okay to do. Like, I just want to tell you, you don't have to be scared that, oh, I have to increase now 50,000 or at least 100,000 kroners. It's not like that. You can increase even 15,000 to counter bid. That's perfectly okay, because we did that and we actually won the bid with a very low difference. So that's okay. The fourth one, which is very important. So guys, this bidding is also your chance to negotiate with the seller. So when we were doing this bid, and this is again our biggest mistake, we were only bidding the amount we want to pay for apartment, and we were not even negotiating on other things. But the other bidder on the same bid, probably he had read the prospect properly, not like us, and when he was placing the bid, he was asking that that for this amount I also need the sofa, I also need all the wardrobes in the house, and he was writing that in the bid. So And then we realized, we saw that, but still we were like in so much pressure, and it was the first house abroad. We couldn't realize that okay, this is the time to negotiate and this is the time to add certain thing if we want, because later on, once you have closed the bid on a certain amount, seller has agreed on a certain amount, they generally don't negotiate on anything. So bidding is a chance to negotiate. This is my biggest learning and mistake, because we didn't do that, and later on we wanted one wardrobe in a common area, and that was perfect fit, but the seller wanted to take it with them only. But if we would have done that at the time of bid, I'm sure we would have retained that wardrobe. So that's another thing, that you have to negotiate during the bid. Some sellers are very good, they will still be very kind and they will give you options, but I felt whatever major you want to negotiate, you have to negotiate during the bid. Okay, fifth one and last one, which was another challenge we had, which is the takeover date. So when you place a bid, guys, you have to give a date that, you know, okay, this is my amount, this is what I want to pay for the apartment or the house, but this is the date I want to take over. And sometimes the owners are very particular about this date, some owners are very flexible. So in our case, the owner was very particular that he didn't wanted to wait for a very long time. So you have to clear that point as well while sitting for the bid, because during those 20 minutes, if you have to decide on the takeover date as well, it will create a lot more pressure. Like we wanted at least 2-3 months gap before taking over, because we were living in a rented apartment, as you all know, and we had to give a notice and all that, but the owner wanted to give it as soon as possible. So then your takeover date can even, if you give a takeover date which is quite far and owner wants to give it early, then you might lose the bid because of the takeover date. But we took a risk and we said, okay, we will agree to what our seller is saying and we will take the house, because we really love the house, and we had to take it over in an earlier date than what we had planned. So even this factor is very important. I felt that you have to plan it, that how flexible is your seller and how flexible you are to take over, because it can even make you win or lose the bid. Because I remember that in our case, there was other person who was ready to take over sooner. So then the seller were more interested in them, because they had their own EMIs, because generally the person is also buying a bigger house and they are also moving and they want the money, and then they want you to take over as soon as possible, because you don't pay the money till you take over. So your bank, your loan and everything will start from the day you take over. These were our learnings from our mistakes, which I have shared. I'm not proud of my mistakes, but yeah, we did those mistakes, but we don't want people to do that, and we have learned from it. And I'm sure next time we will be very cautious about all these factors. But still, I would say in the end, that entire bidding time, I was just praying. I just was praying to God, because that also, I believe that God does everything right, whatever is destined, because He plans everything. I totally believe in that. It was overall a very good, great feeling when you finally win the bid, and when you finally get the date where you have to take over. Interesting thing I want to tell my viewers. So this bidding which we went through, where we did one bid earlier which we lost, and this particular bid, the date when we were doing it, it was happening on 31st of December. Yes, guys, on a New Year Eve, we were actually placing bid, and we were doing this at around 8 in the night, because the seller wanted to close the bid before the 1st of January, and we were placing the bid on 31st of December in the night. It was a very different New Year Eve, but a very good start of New Year. I even thought of sharing that with my viewers. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this is useful for you guys. Ending this video, and keep watching this space for more. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye.